Hello, my name is Fred Satilli. Many parents and grandparents are alienated from their children and grandchildren because of court orders. Before I go on, allow me to be clear about feminism. I and virtually all of my friends applaud feminism when feminism is about equality. We are happy to join women and men who are trying to give women every opportunity to be all they can be. We believe that every man, woman, and child should have unlimited opportunity. This is the American way. The true feminist believes this. A feminist wants every man to have every opportunity if they are honest and true. There are, however, women and men who believe that women can only prosper if men are suppressed, trampled, and beaten down. These women, and even men, are self-deficient, insecure cowards. Poor excuses for individuals. Suppression of one group for the advancement of another is not what feminism is about. It is what National Socialism, Nazism, is. A group who demands suppression of another is extreme, radical, and evil. The unfair court policies that have alienated parents and grandparents from their children are born of evil extremists. Otherwise, court policies would be fair. We all know that children are happier and more likely to succeed when they have both parents, and if they're lucky enough to have both grandparents, all four grandparents in their lives. Court policies that alienate children from parents and grandparents are bad. If you can be honest, you must admit that divorce courts have been brutally biased against men for roughly the past 4 decades, providing the unfair environment where parental alienation against fathers and mothers can flourish. Who has developed, promoted, and demanded these destructive policies? Radical extremists. I call them feminazis. You may call them what you wish. They should be identified for what they are. Whatever you call them, they are the ones that hurt your family. Fair court policies must be demanded of every legislator and judge. Never mind global warming, we would like to warm the hearts of children. Give them what they need, what they deserve, their birthright, which is their own family. I have the honor to present to you a person hurt by these people who has a story to tell. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Van Natta. I'm fortunate to have 13 grandchildren, but the sad thing is I haven't seen 7 of them for 16 years. The reason is parental alienation, or in my case, grand-parental alienation. I know that this happens to millions of grandparents. This is my story. I always knew I would be a terrific grandmother. After all, I had 2 very outstanding role models. My mother, who we called Grandmom, and my husband's mother, known as Nana. When I was introduced to the Van Natta family, my sister-in-law Helen stated that I was getting the world's best mother-in-law and that she was a loving grandmother as well. Nana told me once that if her son, Jimmy, and I ever have an argument, she would take my side because, after all, her son will still understand and love her, but I may not and take offense. Everyone isn't that lucky, as I found out when my oldest son married a girl whose parents had a dysfunctional marriage at best. At first, my son Fred and his wife Stacy worked together to create a stable plan for a future together. The situation changed a few years later when the babies began arriving. I saw the changes, but tried to be a loving grandmother and not be judgmental. Following the example of some of my friends, I tried to give the children experiences rather than just gifts that I purchased. As each boy and girl aged, I took them on trips and to cultural spots like the Montclair Art Museum. One really memorable 4-day trip for Shay, Kaylee, and Fitzy, the 3 oldest, was a ride to Niagara Falls in a very nice rental Buick with stops at the Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame and Fort Ticonderoga, among other places. At Niagara Falls, we did all the special activities, such as taking the boat ride under the falls. I was so touched when Shay presented me with a commemorative coffee mug for Grandma. A few days ago, I looked at that mug on the kitchen shelf, along with another with the caption, "Somebody in Bloomfield loves me." The "Somebody in Bloomfield Loves Me" mug was a thoughtful Valentine gift containing chocolates from a local shop. That shop and luncheonette, Holston's, was immortalized in the last scene of the last episode of the TV show The Sopranos. Remember? I thought, what a sweet, considerate daughter-in-law I was lucky to have. Forget all those mother-in-law stories and jokes. It seems that later, Stacy was influenced by radical feminist men-haters. The lawyer Fred hired to oppose them, we found, was unwilling to represent him properly. My sweet and loving daughter-in-law turned into an entirely different person. When Fred came to California to stay with me, she took offense and cut off contact with the 7 children, not even allowing them to receive cards and birthday checks. I mailed postcards to the house, thinking that the kids might spot them when the cards arrived through the door slot. I was shocked later to find that she cut one in small pieces and mailed the bits back to me. She didn't want those children to remember me, and she forced them to choose between herself and their grandmother. In addition, 4 aunts, 2 uncles, multiple cousins, and acquaintances were all completely cut off from the slightest contact. I believe that this is a form of child abuse. Even though I have a college degree with a major in psychology, I had never heard of a form of depression known as dysthymia until recently. A person suffering from this ailment feels pleasure less often from anything that gives normal people pleasure. That describes Stacy exactly. I remember that Nikki, my daughter, who was in Stacy's high school class, and one of their other classmates were all dressed up to attend a reunion. We took a number of pictures of them. Stacy looked charming in a lovely dress. I was there to supervise the children so she could enjoy her evening out. When we checked the photos later, we discovered that she was not smiling. She just couldn't allow herself to be happy. As for those 7 children, now adults, I can hardly believe that they have completely erased me from their inner feelings. When they see something about Lucy the Margate elephant, Philadelphia's art museum with the statue of Rocky, a documentary about Niagara Falls, or especially Washington, D.C., I hope a little light will flash in their brains and they will remember me. If any of you, Shay, Kaylee, Fitzy, Liam, Siobhan, Bryn, or Maeve, see this, take a few minutes to call or write. It will mean so much to me because in spite of all the alienation, I still sincerely love you all and miss each one of you every day.